My name's Gary Kovacic. This is Charlie Cummings. This is Daniel Bernata. This is Tim Polk. The three of us are lawyers. Tim runs our project analysis department, and you're a potential client, so thank you. Our firm is Sullivan Workman Dee. We've been in the business of practicing law for over 50 years. Our main area of concentration is eminent domain. We've handled well over 1,000 eminent domain cases and recovered well over hundreds of millions of dollars for our clients. It's a real life attitude by a lot of property owners and business owners that once they're facing eminent domain, they have no control. They can't, you can't fight City Hall, and you might as well accept the offer that the government's going to give you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And we're here to tell you that that's an absolutely false impression of the process.
For example, early. Why does it make sense to hire us early? Well, an agency may come along before they've given you an offer saying, there's a project coming through, we'd like to go on your property to do some testing, environmental testing. Well, I had a client one time that had a truck yard, a pretty full truck yard, pulling trucks in and out, storage, maintenance, stuff like that. And it was about an acre piece of property. And the agency wanted to do some testing. On this 1 acre piece of property, they wanted to do 100 boring holes. At the end, they would have had a property that looked like Swiss cheese. So they hired us, and we were able to negotiate early on the testing. So we narrowed down 100 boreholes to 5, to the specific areas that they were really concerned about versus areas that they could just go test to see if there was something there.
Fortunately or unfortunately, the eminent domain law doesn't talk about fixtures and equipment. It talks about improvements pertaining to the realty. And so what are they? They're typically items that are the improvements made to a piece of property that if you remove them, it would either damage the property or it would damage the item itself. And so what we're talking about are buildings. We're talking about a lot of trade fixtures and equipment, those types of things. And we're talking about tenant improvements. And this is, you mentioned, negotiations with tenants. This is sometimes a bone of contention, who owns what? And you have to go back to the lease to see if there's a discussion about who owns what. And if the lease isn't clear on it, you go to basic real estate law to determine who owns it.
It's what is the value of my business other than the fixed improvements, assets in the bank, and so forth, this intangible value of the property. What someone would pay over my fixed assets, and that's what lost business is. It's not the same as increased profits or lost profits. It can be based on what your profit margins and what your profits are, but it's not specifically that. This is extra value.
And the agency knew that if they put them out of business, they'd have to pay a huge loss of goodwill claim. So we were able to negotiate that the agency would buy a piece of property and build a brand new factory for them. So that on Friday, their employees left their old factory, and on Monday, they came to the new factory. And this was like about 20 years ago, and the new factory cost about $4 million then. So that was a very significant transaction and a very significant benefit for the tenant. For the owner of the property and the owner of the business. So, understanding relocation is really important. And I want to work to get the right experts so that we can do the best job fighting for you. Because that's what, you're looking at a net benefit. What's the net benefit? You're not in it for $5,000, but if we can get you $500,000 or $150,000 more, that's something that we're fighting for. If we can get you $2 million more, that's definitely worth fighting. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what our goal is, to get the most money.
So